Hello and welcome to Color Multimedia Enterprises. My name is Luke, also known as Tianery, and in this video I am going to be showing you a roundup of what's been going on over the past couple of days. So I've been developing, as you may or may not be aware, a visual editor called StoryDev 2. Now, the main aim behind this project initially was to create a visual editor for making it easier to create interactive stories with the engine itself, which is in fact called StoryDev 2, which may be a bit confusing to some. So let me just show you the difference between the two first before I go ahead and just show you the editor for the time being. So this is the visual editor repository. It's going to be open source. That being said, there is going to be ways in which you can contribute. As mentioned here, you can also watch monetized videos like this one, for example. Oops. And of course, as you can see, if you clicked on that link that I accidentally clicked, which was interesting to say the least, you can go onto the official website, which shows you about the engine, the story engine itself. I haven't updated it in a while. I didn't seem to need to at the moment. It just works at the moment, so that's all good. And then it gives you a bit of information about the visual editor and how you can become an official contributor. Now, I will go a bit into the official contribution side of things. So if you were to go onto my website currently and take a look at this particular page right here, there is a thing of, there's this concept of officially contributing to the project. Now, you can voluntarily contribute, and you can do that in your own time, make a pull request, and just do that. If I like your pull request and it actually adds improvements or features to the product, then I will accept it. I will put it into the repository, and everyone's good in that regard. Now, if you were to become an official contributor, which is completely different from voluntarily contributing, you will be able to make some money from it. Now, the reason why I'm doing this is because, well, there's not many open source projects that gives you this ability. Normally when you have these things called donations via Patreon or something like that, that normally just goes to the maintainer of the project, and those who volunteer to contribute just volunteer. They don't see any of that money. So one of the main aims of this project is to take the perspective as if it were a commercial project. So it's like saying, okay, here's the project. This is what you can get out of it. If you contribute to it and your contributions are good, you are actively contributing to it on a monthly basis, right? You can get paid for it. So it's almost as if, okay, you can actually get paid for something that you're doing in your own time, right? So that it basically gives you the incentive of effectively working towards something where you might actually get some money. Now, as you can see on the screen right here, there are a list of requirements. You will need to be 18 years old because there will be a contract involved so that you can perform a signature. You'll need to have a PayPal account, and you need to have voluntarily contributed at least 3 comments in a week introducing improvements or features to StoryDev 2 that have been successfully merged. The reason why is because I don't want to essentially recruit. I'm not exactly recruiting you because you're the one signing up to this volunteer contribution program, but it's as if you are being recruited. You sign a contract. You're effectively giving up some more of your time to contribute to this project and be paid for it. Now, here's the catch. Because of the fact that I will rely on different types of revenue that are to be earned through this project, whether that's through Patreon, through the money that I earn from YouTube as I'm monetizing these videos, etc. That revenue will determine whether or not I am going to be looking for contributors. Now, obviously, I'm not going to allow contributors to sign up to this program if I don't have money to give you. It's as simple as that, really. So it's really just a case of whether or not people are interested in this application, which obviously I will hope to achieve. There's going to be, of course, as I mentioned, the visual editor, etc. And I thought I'd just put it out there, just saying, look, if you want to contribute, fine, you can volunteer. And eventually there will come a time when there will be enough revenue that I will be able to pay you for, and that will effectively make it easier to develop more features, improve it, and effectively develop it a lot faster. Okay, so now that I've got that out of the way, let me go back over to GitHub and show you the repository for the engine itself. You can ignore that SD2 core thing. I'm not going to be working on that, at least not yet. So this is the actual engine itself, and it's an interactive story engine for visual novels, written stories and animations. Currently, in its current state, all you can do is create written interactive stories. Now, as far as I can tell, there are people looking toward that. I believe. I'm not 100% sure in terms of the gaming space of things, but apparently there is interest in interactive storytelling still. At least in terms of text-based storytelling, I mean. Whether it would be viable to sell, I'm not 100% sure, but that is primarily one of my concerns regarding that. But nevertheless, I'm going to be moving over to the visual editor itself, where I will be able to show you exactly what you can do in it so far. So, you can create, save and close projects, as you might imagine. I don't really need to show you that, to be honest. What I will in fact show you is you can create new projects, browse, put in a title, and you've got templates as well. So there's a very simple template system with this. You can click on open if I'm just going to cancel out of this for the time being. Now, if I go back to Visual Studio and show you exactly what's going on. Now, if I were to show you new project, now if we were to go over to templates, there is nothing there, right? Just to prove to you that there is in fact a simple template system going on. Now, if we were to go into this code, we're going to get a list of templates, right? There's a variety of different things going on in here. This might not mean anything to you, but the point is there is a simple template system in here. And if we go over to Haxe-lib, so when the application initially starts, if I view code and scroll up to this one here, basically what we're going to do is we're going to initialize the Haxe-lib, which will get the Haxe path. We'll check to see if it exists. If it doesn't, then Haxe is probably not installed. So we'll tell the user that Haxe is probably not installed. And we're going to get we're going to get a list of repositories as well as a variety of different versions as well. So we'll get the current version, blah 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 blah. we're also going to get StoryDev directories, which is one of the main features of this, which will effectively give you the ability to extend the editor with your own templates and types and all manner of different things. So what's effectively happening here is when we get those StoryDev directories, so if I go into the template system here and I say get all templates, I'm going to get the StoryDev directories. And when I do that, I'm going to go through each and every repository that currently exists in Haxe-lib, and we're going to check to see if there is a folder called .sd2 in that directory in the current version that it's at, right? So if you were to go into your command prompt, you set a version of OpenFL to, let's say, 4 or something, because it now has .sd2 in the root of its folder. What you'll then be able to do is you'll be able to see a lot of different config files in there, probably YAML files, because that's currently the format that I'm using at the moment, just YAML. And it will, StoryDev 2 will automatically detect the changes there. It will find out the configuration for that particular library. It will identify the different types that's being used. It will be able to identify, okay, here's a visual representation of a text field. So it will actually give you the option to add a text field, and it will show you, okay, when you click on that text, it will show you additional properties associated with that text field according to Haxe, and it will even produce the Haxe code according to that as well. So there's going to be a lot to this. Obviously, I haven't implemented that functionality yet, but I'm just going to show you exactly what's happening right now. Now, there's also a assets folder here as well, template.assets. I haven't actually implemented this correctly yet, but basically, since this is a visual editor, it's only really going to be useful if you're creating video games with OpenFL, Haxe-Flixel, etc. Right? So you could have Haxe-Flixel with Flixel UI, and within Flixel UI, you have a .sd2 folder that presents all of the associated types with their given visual representation inside StoryDev 2. Right. I'll show you how that would all work later on once I've implemented it. Okay. So let me go back in here. So that's the config that's basically displaying. Okay, this is the I want to show OpenFL. If I go into exts over here, OpenFL, this is that's the config YAML file here. So that's the text that we're going to be displaying, which is, if I go back to here, if I go into new, go into template, that OpenFL is the text that's being grabbed from here. There's also a build, which is kind of useless at the moment because I don't actually have a build function anywhere, but create is being used at the moment. The $title, that is getting whatever value you put into the title bit here. So test, right? So I'll put test there, and that's what's going to be passed into that bit here. So that'll be replaced there, and then it'll run that command, right, as you might imagine. So that's all that's really happening at the moment. Now, if I open an existing project, for example, and I go to my test, I believe it's called, which is here, I open it, I double click on here. Now what I can do is I can click on these and I can modify the appearance. So I can change this color to orange, for example, if I wanted to. The outline color is green, but I can't see it on my TV because it's terrible. But You can change the width and height of things, set the specific location of something if you wanted to. So I would say 150, let's say 150, and it automatically adjusts itself like that. You've also got meta, so instance name and instance type. Again, this will become useful for when code is being generated, but at the moment you can't really do much with it. There is just instance name, which will give you the name that identifies that particular object on the screen, and then the type itself, which in this case would probably mostly be a sprite, because this is just a rectangle. If we go over to the insert menu, you've got text bitmap button. None of those technically work yet because I haven't implemented the asset system, which is what's going to happen next, probably today at some point. So the asset system is going to be there eventually. But yeah, that's pretty much StoryDev 2 at the moment. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this surprisingly lengthy video. Next week I would hopefully have implemented the asset system. Well, it most likely implement the asset system by then. Hopefully code generation, I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm still going to have to implement the type system eventually as well. By type system, I don't technically mean an actual type system. I mean the ability to associate different types within Haxe context as visual graphics inside StoryDev 2. So you'll probably have a config file somewhere that says types.yaml, which associates itself with different types graphically within StoryDev 2 so that you can identify and see them. So yeah, I think that's everything. So thank you very much for watching once again, and I will see you next time.